Hi guys, my name is Alex of Planet3.bike and this is a Turbo Vado 3.0. It was a beautiful day today, so I thought it might be a good idea to do like a demonstration run of Planet 3, what it does, how it feels, what are some of the pros and cons. So we're gonna have a nice little ride through the city, and I know some of you might be thinking like, oh, this is a de-restricted bike, you should not be riding this on public roads and blah blah blah, but that's your opinion and you are very entitled to it. However, even though most of the websites, including mine, that are selling you products for de-restriction will say that, oh, this is not intended for use on public property and blah blah blah, only on private land, we all know what you're going to use it for. So let's just be realistic. If you are not a complete idiot, you should be in charge of the speed at which you ride your bike. It's the same for cars, and the speed limits still apply. However, it is your constitutional right to basically violate any traffic law in your country. However, it's also your constitutional obligation to then pay any fines that arise from that, or be held responsible for anything that you might have done while you were doing it. So if we're not going to have cars that simply stop assisting us above a speed limit of, let's say, 50 kilometers per hour, I don't think any different should apply for bikes. So I will ride mine de-restricted always. But don't be an idiot, just use your helmet. If you're in a pedestrian zone, please slow down. People have the right of way. Let them cross the street or whatever. Be nice, say hi, say excuse me, and things like that. Okay? Basically, be a regular, decent person who just sometimes likes to go above 25 kilometers per hour. Okay? So this is the actual Planet 3. I'm just gonna tilt this slightly. Okay? It's kind of very incognito and stealth, and you can't even see it, and most people who ask me about it, even when I tell them where it is and what it does, they look at the wheel and they just don't see it, kind of. Okay, let me just do this. Okay. So, I have equipped the bike with another speedo, because obviously what's going to happen, due to the magic of mechanical planetary gear sets, the original speedo of the bike is going to lie. So, and it's going to lie by a factor of almost 3 and 3.2 or something. It depends on the model. So I'm going to this like that, and we're gonna go. Okay, so I'm already doing 20 kilometers per hour, but it's reading out 6. This is basically the only downside that it has, and I've noticed that for the people and the communities who ride tarmac e-bikes, or let's call them urban e-bikes, looking at displays and things like that are very important. I don't really know why this is, because for me personally, the whole speed limit problem was a much larger burning issue than knowing the exact distance that I traveled between 2 points, or the speed at which I traveled it. So my argument would be that if you need an accurate display, then please do not buy the Planet 3. You are not its intended audience. However, I went Googling today because I wanted, for the demonstration purposes of this video, to kind of show you how this can be avoided. And it can be avoided with a little application called Belivo, or Belivo. And oh, there's a lot of headwind. And what that does is you can use it instead of mission control to connect to your e-bike. And Paolo, the guy who develops it, has implemented a speed multiplier, which basically takes care of the problem that we are currently facing, which is the wrong speed display. However, this will not work on your N+ speed display that came on the bike. It will only work in Velivo, and you will have to use your phone on your handlebars to kind of be able to see the speed correctly and the distance. But it will use the speed sensor on the rear wheel to actually display the speed. Although you can use GPS, you can use Strava, you can use whatever you like. But that's the thing. So since the planet or the magnet inside the planetary gear set is slowed down by a factor of 3, the bike will measure 3 times less speed and 3 times less distance. I know that this shouldn't be used as a selling point for the device, but your bike, after installing Planet 3, will have 3 times lower mileage than it otherwise would have. So as you can see, you can pretty much cruise around well below the speed limit. It's not like you installed an extra 5 kilowatt motor and now you're just a crazy de-restricted person, okay? And if you're in a pedestrian zone like I am now, just observe people cross the street without looking left and right. People are stupid, and you should always kind of account for that in your riding, because it can be dangerous. See, these chicks are not looking left. Still, if we wanted to go slightly faster, we can, okay? This is the point. You have the freedom to do it, okay? And now we're going 37. And we can go even faster than that. Let's see where my legs stop out. Batman. Okay, so that was like 52 kilometers per hour, and then you just slow down, downshift. There's a street crossing here. You let the lady go. Okay. I don't know if many of you are going to agree, but the thing that I found, oh man, is even more dangerous than having a de-restricted e-bike is having a restricted one. Because usually when I start at a, let's say, a traffic light or somewhere, and if I'm going down an underpass or something where I don't have a bicycle path, as you can see, our city does not really have much dedicated bike paths, then it's actually kind of more dangerous for me, or at least I feel it's more dangerous when I'm doing the best that I can to pedal my way along, and I'm being passed by trucks and car drivers and all sorts of people. While if I have a de-restricted e-bike, I can just move along at their pace and I can get out of trouble, and I'm not causing a constriction in traffic, and I'm not that worried, you know. Whee! And now we're gonna go slightly uphill. So I'm doing above the speed limit now, and I'm moving up. I know that due to the GoPro effect, you might not be able to see it, but this is a nice little gradient, and I am in full turbo, so I'm gonna switch to eco mode now. And there's a headwind, as you might be able to hear, and I can still move well above the speed limit. So in my opinion, the speed limit that is kind of dictated for e-bikes in Europe is much too low. Okay, if it was around 20 miles per hour or even 25 or 35 to 40 kilometers per hour, there would be no reason to de-restrict, because if you want to go faster, then I mean, you can always buy a scooter or a moped or something like that. But if people on regular e-bikes or regular bikes can move faster than I can, and I have to pedal through the terrible resistance that is there once you have passed the speed limit, because nobody thought to write the governing laws in a way where okay, the way I would have written it was above a certain speed limit, let's say 30 or 40 kilometers per hour, the motor can assist in a way so that it just covers its own losses, okay? Because otherwise you're just pedaling through the gearbox and transmission losses of a planetary drive, which is inside the motor and the belt, okay? And that can be like, that can be 20%, and that's felt. You know, you can feel that when you're pedaling on a bike and then you hit the speed limit and it's like somebody put on the brakes, like as if you're pedaling through mud or water or cheesecake or whatever. So that's kind of it. I don't know what else to demonstrate for you. As you can hear, maybe I can slow down. The device itself can't really be heard, you know, if you're moving faster than 10 kilometers per hour, which you almost certainly are. Like even now, there's no wind. I'm gonna slow right down. Okay, nothing. On certain models, like the 2019 Levo, which has a much more powerful magnet, the Planet itself, kind of when it goes over the bolt holes, can produce a light clicking sound, because it really tries to pull itself down to the bolt. So I've started delivering stainless steel bolts with all my units, because those are kind of non-magnetic, or they're very, very low in magnetism. And basically this is it. You don't have to maintain it, you don't have to do anything to it. You can open it anytime you change brake pads or whatever, and you can just blow the dust out and pretty much enjoy a hassle-free life with no speed limits. And the best of all is that the bike doesn't really know it's present, you know. There's no way to detect a mechanical device, because they don't have calibrated magnets or whatever. And basically on any diagnostics, they can just see that you're a real pussy who drives really slowly everywhere, and there's fortunately not a law against that. So, and that's it. I know that in certain, let's say, conditions, if you bring them a bike and on the diagnostics it says, oh, you never went above 25 kilometers per hour, you know, that can be suspicious on its own, but it's not conclusive evidence that anything was tampered with. He just didn't go above 25, and there's no law saying that that's illegal. You might be using your bicycle at home in walk mode to power a small electric fan or whatever to cool yourself if you don't have air conditioning. Or you might live in an area where you might just step out of your house and the road starts going very uphill, okay? And you really don't pass 25 kilometers per hour. And then at the top of the hill, you just turn off your bike, because why wouldn't you? You can turn off your bike, you can drive it as a regular bike going downhill, and it will not count distance, or it will not surprise you in any corner where when you give it a pedal stroke and you just fly out wildly because you're a drift machine. You know, so it's basically your word against theirs about what it is and what it isn't. And I wouldn't be too worried about it, because Specialized, especially when it comes to warranty, they're excellent, and they don't give you problems if you just put everything back to the way it was. And even if the bike was de-restricted, look, they want you to have a de-restricted bike. It's really the way these bikes were meant to be ridden, but they can't sell them to you directly like that because they have to comply with the regulations of countries where they sell their bikes. Okay, so it's up to you to kind of think outside of the box and solve a problem, and they're just gonna look the other way. At least that's what it has been up to now. That's how it has been up to now. However, you doing anything to your bike other than it remaining in its factory condition is your responsibility. Okay, so if at any point you have a problem with your bike and they say, oh, this and this and this and this, and then you say, no, but you see this, it's in the end, it's down to you. Okay, it's your responsibility. It's not mine, it's not theirs. Oh, the doggos love me. So I think that was enough kind of moronic babbling on my side. And if you would like to know more, I would invite you to visit planet3.bike. It's a website, you know, it has a web shop and everything, and it has detailed technical articles on anything related to e-bikes or just regular bikes, and I try to make myself useful to any community of riders with solid advice that comes from like years of experience with bikes and my mechanical engineering background. So even if you don't buy anything from me, you can ask me questions and I'll give you my advice or my opinions, at least, which will be substantiated by, let's say, facts, which is kind of weird and new in the age of the internet. And that's it. Enjoy your bikes and your life. Bye-bye.